The purpose of this panel up here, before we begin the showcase, is actually just to throw out some really cool programming ideas that we have garnered from schools around the country. A lot of different people have come from the region here to talk about some of the, just very quickly throw out some great programming ideas that have worked on their campus. If you have some notes, it'd be a great time to take a few notes. Great time to listen, think about these, and you can even ask some questions and reflect at the very end of it, or even maybe throw out one of your own ideas before we start the showcase while we have a little time to do this. Beginning with, we will start with Seth Vandertag. He's from Kirkwood Community College. Now, they use absolutely, and your regional area coordinator, making Bob look good like we all do. Using a Welcome Week to spark events, evening events on a commuter campus is kind of an orientation to campus activities on the campus place. Could you speak a little bit about that program, Seth?
Sure. Hi, you guys having a good time so far? Yeah. So nothing new with Welcome Week. I know everybody has a Welcome Week, and I don't know that ours is that unique to a lot of people's on your own campuses, but one thing we do, we promote all orientation season long throughout the summer. We promote, to all of our incoming class about our Welcome Week. And then with all the things we do, we really spend, whether it's our outdoor concert on Sunday, our fall carnival on Monday, the night before classes, the first day of classes, all the free food we give away that week. We really lead it all up to our big Thursday night event, which has been traditionally a hypnotist we've had the last few years, which we're able to get a huge crowd for that hypnotist and then kind of use that as an opportunity to really promote the upcoming things that we have coming up. So certainly, we do activities all year, but there's a lot of people that think, oh, you just do that first week of school. So we really promote that first week of school, and every event that we do leads up to that Thursday night event. And then at that Thursday night is really when we say, hey, if you guys are having fun now and you think this looks like fun with all these students here, next Thursday we have the Comedy Magic Show, and 3 weeks from now we have that, that comedian on campus or anything else that we have coming up. And then, as everybody's walking out, certainly we're giving them information that, hey, thanks for coming tonight. We'll see you 1 week from tonight, same location, same spot, or different location, whatever it may be. And really use that one event, or that first week to promote one event, and use that one event to promote the next handful coming up. The other thing we do in terms of our student leaders is really that first week to determine, hey, we've seen some of these students come to all these events this week. They would be a great student for us to try and recruit to join our leadership group that can really help us in promoting all the other events and activities on campus. So again, Welcome Week's nothing new, doing events all year long is nothing new, but rather than it being the only week that we do activities, which most people think, is really the first week that we do activities that really sparks all those different things we have coming up over the next handful of months on campus.
So the idea of front-loading your programs as an orientation so the students know you have programs, very important. Next, Carrie Sanderson from Nebraska Wesleyan University, and by the way, these are in no particular order. Director of Student Involvement. They have 1,400 full-time enrollment, so a smaller school, but it's a traditional campus program. Traditional campus student population. The program is September Soiree, and the purpose is collaboration and promoting education and entertainment combined. Tell us a little about it, Carrie.
So as many of you know, you see wonderful performers and acts at these conferences, and sometimes you see people that think, wow, they're amazing, we've got to figure out how to bring them to our campus. How would we get our students to come to that event? And also breaking out of the kind of the rut that we can get into with our programming boards and doing the same thing year after year. So we designed a program called September Soiree. Soiree is an evening at someone's home or event that involves food and music. We learned that when we decided to call it September Soiree. But what we did is we found a classically trained artist that we wanted to bring to our campus that was also very prolific in hip-hop and things like that, plays the violin. And we paired that with our food service. We offered high-end meals and hors d'oeuvres, and then in the background we had this musician playing, and it was a great opportunity for our students to socialize. It was a formal event, get dressed up. But then this past year what we did is we collaborated with our Career Counseling Center that actually hosts a dining etiquette dinner as well. So students were able to employ the skills that they learned at the dining etiquette event at the September Soiree later in the semester. So as Eric had said earlier, the medicine with the candy, you're learning the education or the skill set, but you're also having a fun social event for the students to get dressed up and do something a little bit different.
So the idea of promoting collaboration between departments and having something that's a really great event that has food in it, that might in some ways appeal to somebody for some reason, for one reason, that also has a secondary purpose to promote a learning outcome in it. Great stuff. And after this is over, this dinner is over, the showcase is over, please approach them, speak with them, and talk with them. They want to talk about these. Shay Nahiba from University of Mary is the Student Activities Coordinator, and wants to tell us about the programs they have there that get students engaged with the performances on campus, promoting engagement on campus through the performance.
Yeah, so one of our biggest obstacles at University of Mary is getting students out to our events. So what we try to do, for every performer we bring to campus, we ask a student to open for them. Whether it's musicians, we ask a student who's musically inclined to perform for them, or a band, or a comedian and they do a comedy routine. One way we get these students is through open mic nights. So I farm them on open mic night. I'll approach them afterwards and say, are you interested in performing, opening for this person, or performing on campus for us? And it's a really great way because all of their friends will come to the event, they'll check it out, and it's really awesome. So for Welcome Week, I had a student approach me actually. They have a band that was playing in town all summer. They said, can we come and open for this band for Welcome Week? And I said, definitely. And they are actually going to continue performing throughout the year, opening for acts that we have coming in and playing themselves. They are doing their album release party on campus, which is really cool. So we get a lot of students who come out and support them. And then we get more people coming to the performer that I've hired to bring in that we love and we see here and we want all of our students to see. And they actually will come to it instead of hanging out in their room and watching Netflix because they've never heard of them before. So it's really awesome to get the students who are friends and maybe have heard of the student on campus before to come and participate in that way.
And tell me, what challenges have you come across having students actually be part of the performance, and what kind of guidelines have you used to make sure that your administration doesn't get afoul of that and make sure that they support it?
Yeah, so we actually have all of the student performers sign a contract as well. So I have a contract that I actually send out to all the performers I have on campus, as well as these students. So they follow the same guidelines as all the performers we bring in, and we haven't had any issues really with any of them.
So if you have students on your campus, or maybe you have talents, or there are talents within your board, maybe that's a possibility to help draw people in. Remember that people go for their own reasons. So if you have a student or somebody on your campus, or you know people in your dorm, things like that, bring them in, make them a part of it. They could be a great opening act as a possibility. Just make sure you keep the same guidelines you have for performers there. Allison Garver is the Assistant Director of Student Involvement at University of Wisconsin-Superior. Now, how many people don't have sports teams on their schools? Raise your hand if you don't have like a football team, for instance. Raise your hand up there, okay? Here you go. Now how about this? They have Jacket Racket Week. It's homecoming without football, aimed at increasing school spirit and creating annual traditions. Allison.
Hi, I'm glad you asked the question of who, has sports or not. On our campus, we had a lot of student interest in having some sort of school spirit initiative. Students really felt like we were lacking in that area. So I worked with a group of students and we were able to then go around campus and work with a lot of departments as well to plan what we call Jacket Racket Week. So it's similar to a homecoming week, but we do it our own way. And one of the highlight events that I want to share with you is our Union Bash. So kind of the culminating event of that whole week is a late night party in our student union. And we get many of our student organizations involved, and we try to fill up every corner of that building with activity. It's all free for students to attend. So I just want to, let's see, some of the events we've had. We bring a psychic in. That's been really popular for students. They get about 5 minutes with her. We've done a cash cube, mechanical bowl. We've done some glow-in-the-dark casino. This year we're trying a black light mini golf course in our union. We get our student gaming organization involved. They have some gaming tournaments. We do a walking taco bar, free mocktails with our student health and counseling services. And then in the past we've tried a dance-off competition. The first year it went great. We had a lot of student organizations and athletic teams that participated. Last year attendance was down on that, so we're going to try a lip-syncing contest this year. And we've actually reached out to some faculty and staff to form some of their own lip-syncing bands to perform as kind of a highlight. So a late night party where you can just bring a lot of different student organizations together has been a lot of fun for us.
You know what I'm hearing, and I love to hear, there's murmurings out there, we can do that, we can do that. Hey, we don't have them, we have football, we can do that. I love that, this is it. Everybody's getting in, this is wonderful. If you don't have a football team or something, you can still do a homecoming week. You can have something that applies to that or makes people feel like they're part of that same kind of experience, you know. Provide that for them, it's a wonderful way for engagement. Barak Taken is from Metropolitan State University in St. Paul. Now, they are a non-traditional inner city school, and they use movies to try to have engagement on their campus. Barak, could you tell us about Selma and what you did with that?
Yes, we showed Selma in early spring when it was still in the movie theater, and the reason why is people in St. Paul, they would not come to a movie screening if it's already out on DVD. So what we did is we showed the movie 3 times in one day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, so people can come in, you know, whenever they want. And in the afternoon screening, we had a panel afterwards. And we invited 3 panelists that were big figures in the local African-American community. And so we had a conversation with them about the African-American experience. Metropolitan State University is the most diverse school in the state of Minnesota. So ours, you know, we're so diverse. I mean, we really try to plan events that have a learning outcome and that are diverse in the experience. Our problem is that we're an inner city school, so our programming competes against all the programming in the Twin Cities. You know, when we have a Friday evening event, we compete against all the bars and clubs, and so it's really hard to get people on campus. And we also have 4 campuses, so you know, some people are in Minneapolis, some people are in St. Paul, and different campuses. It's really tough.
So you can use film with speakers afterwards to kind of facilitate discussion on a film. Now here's something really neat, write this down. Criterion Pictures, if you reach out to them, will give you a discount, a cooperative buying discount on film based on you being an APCA member, and you don't have to have any proximity to each other. One can be showing it one day in New Mexico, another can be showing it in New York, but if you book together as a group or if you talk amongst the other schools here and you all want to do the same program for something like a Selma, they'll give you a cooperative buying discount. Call them and they'll tell you what other schools are involved in it. Criterion Pictures, check that out. Shannon Garcia is the graduate assistant for student involvement at William Woods University in Fulton, Missouri. Their program, LEAD, Scholarship Incentive-Based Program, incorporating administration and engagement. Tell us about how you get the administration involved in what you do.
Right, okay, so tell me out there, who likes free money? Who likes free money? Oh yeah, okay, yay, free money! Right, so at William Woods, we actually offer to all of our residential students $5,000 a year in what's called the LEAD program. In order to get that, the students have to rack up a certain amount of points by the end of the year, and by doing that they go to events, like events that you guys already probably put on, but then also events that like our faculty and staff put on. So some of that like purposeful programming we saw, like we could bring that to our campus, and you know the social work club could help put that on. So it's not even just campus activities board, but it helps us get our students out of their room to these things because there's an incentive, because you pretty much can get almost like $100 or $200 if like an event, if you think of it that way when you break it down. So if you can find a way to kind of engage your faculty staff to help you with that and tap into that, or also find another way to get a different incentive other than like free food or stuff like that that might not get certain people to come. You know, maybe you can't give a scholarship to all your students, but if there's money you can tap into, or you can give it to a few students, or maybe it's not even money, but it's just like a big grand prize at the end, and the students who maybe get the most points by going to the most programming could be really beneficial.
Bribery.
Bribery.
It's great, it works. We give incentives to your students to come to your events. Figure out incentives you can give them, accolades, trophies to the dorm that has the most people come to events. Any organizations that have the most people come to your events, you have a trophy or a dinner for them at the end of the year. It's great, it works, it's incentive. Ben Endricks is from the University of Minnesota, Duluth. He's a student activities advisor. They have 10,000 students. About a third of those are residential. They have Enough is Enough Week. It's a week dedicated to educating students and the campus community on societal violence.
Yeah, so Enough is Enough Week actually began as a program through NASPA, but you obviously have to have no affiliation with NASPA to do something of this nature. Basically, societal violence, we talk about things from sexual assault and dating violence to sexism and racism and issues that students experience on campus. Now, I think one of the problems is we also often have a hard time getting students to come to educational sessions of this nature. So one of the ways that we sort of dealt with that is we really reached out to the student groups to put on this programming. So we went to all of our multicultural student groups, we went to our LGBTQ student union, we went to different places on campus to really say, hey, we want you to be involved in this, we want you to put on the programming. And what that does is it allows, you have the students are the ones recruiting other students to come into your programs. So we really had great turnout. We also partnered with our police department, we partnered with different organizations within the community to do programming. Our police department did a self-defense training, which was awesome. Other things that we did was that we had an organization do a presentation called the Best Party Model, which students really grabbed onto because it talked about just ways to party safely and to still, a very realistic version of what it might look like to have a safe party. But we also talk about, issues of racism, and that's one of the big pieces that I really liked about it, is that we really reached out to the student groups to put that programming on.
And by the way, I don't know if you're aware of it, there's current legislation pending that makes the non-reporting of sexual violent crimes on campus a fine of $130,000 per occurrence. So raising awareness is something you will all be hearing about soon. In fact, you are all required as student activities people to have CSA training, Campus Security Authority training. That is something that's just a federally mandated thing now. And we'll be putting that on the website so you can all see it. It won't cost you anything. We're providing that $3 membership, but it's something that's going to be not just a great idea that they're getting ahead of, it's something your administration is going to have mandated now that you're going to have to deal with. And finally, before we get to Del Suggs here on the panel, we have very end Tim Danu, Associate Director of the Student Union, Activities and Organizations, has been in this game for quite a while. And leadership, engagement, and education is what he's going to tell you about his program that he's done. Tim.
Thank you. Just this morning, as Eric spoke so passionately about being engaged and talked about Dr. King and the way that he tried to engage the culture and get things changed for civil rights, we want to try to engage students as well. And the one leadership group that we work with, similar to a lot of communities that you may be familiar with and wherever you're from, we have students that go out into the community and they have a chance to talk to leaders or tour industry, different agencies, and find out the nuts and bolts of what is actually going on. So for example, we may have a day with city government. We'll be able to talk to city council members, the mayor. We may have an industrial day. We get to talk to the CEOs of different companies or corporations. And then the way that we kind of take that to engage not only those students, but to bring it back to campus, is to invite a lot of those people to campus, and they really love it. A lot of times, community leaders love to engage the college because the town-gown relationship is so important. And so we'll be able to bring the mayor in and have a meeting with him, kind of like a little town hall or fireside chat with him, whatever the case may be. And so that students can talk about, what are the issues in the community? What are things directly relating to the college and the community? Or we may be able to have a senator from our district that comes in. And again, you can talk about things that are specific with the community or with the state, whatever the case may be. And so again, all of those things are great programs. You're bringing in high-profile people, and especially people in politics, they can't charge, or a lot of times they don't want to charge. So you can have an event like that. Those individuals can come to campus, be very involved with your students. And again, your students learn and grow. It's very educational as well, and bringing in a lot of things from the political realm. But again, the same thing, even if it's a social agency or an industry, and you bring those people in, it's also a great way to combine, even say, with your career services department, because they're looking for students all the time as well.
So bringing in people from the community, your mayor, your judges, people who have a say within the community, people who are from your own university, your president to come and speak. These are all things you can use to enhance whatever it is you're doing on campus. Del Suggs about to give us the 3 best programming ideas from his 60 ideas in 60 minutes, which actually garnered about 100 ideas today. And up on this panel right now, you have about 2 centuries worth of campus activities experience. 100 of those years just Del and Tim each. So if you have any questions, we'll open it up just for a few questions. We only take a couple, but right now, Del, hit us with the 3 best programming promotional ideas you got.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I did a session today called 60 Awesome Program Ideas, and I think a lot of students come to that thinking, I'm going to give them 60 ideas. But that's not what happens. What happens is I facilitate it, and we draw all the suggestions in from the folks who are attending there. How many of you in this room were actually at my session today? I see a lot of, yeah. It was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we generated over 100 ideas, and you think, how can you do that in 45 minutes? Well, because they just flow like this. So I can't, it's really hard for me to boil things down and just give you just a brief synopsis of what we covered. So I would really suggest that you talk to some of these folks and they'll share ideas with you. We posted all the ideas on the wall, and people took pictures of them with their phones so they can take this back to campus. But I'll give you some real quick highlights. One of the things that I really believe in is building campus community, breaking down those barriers. And so we talked a lot about programs and events that you can do, which actually involve students and faculty and staff working together. Whether it's a dunking booth that you can do real cheaply, where you have your dean in the dunking booth, or whether it's Pie a Professor, where you raise money for a local charity, and dunk the dean, and these sorts of events. Whether it's athletic competitions between faculty and staff versus students, where it's softball, or even something silly like tricycle races, things like that. Having, taking concepts from popular television shows, like doing, instead of Dancing with the Stars, Dancing with the Professor. Doing competition like that.
Dancing with the Professor.
Yeah.
How about the price of your delegate fee, right there?
Yeah. How about Campus Idol? Where you do an American Idol version on your own campus, and use that as a spin-off for an open mic. The ideas just flowed, and it's so important to let those juices flow. We spent probably 10 minutes just discussing Halloween topics. So you could just think of all the different things you can do with Halloween topics, whether it's bringing in a ghost hunter to hunt for ghosts on your campus, for doing a ghost tour of the haunted buildings on your campus. Again, I could go on and on and on, but there's so many ideas that you can do, and these are all ideas that we figured you could do for $300 or less. $300 or less. So there's a world of opportunities out there for you to get your students involved and engaged with your activities and programs.
All right, we just have a few moments. If anybody has a question, you're looking at 200 years of campus activities experience here. Does anybody have a particular question? We've got time maybe for 1 or 2 at the most. Anybody have a question for the panel on something that is a problem that's on your community campus situation or your traditional campus situation? Anybody got a question in the back? Yes, sir. Please stand and shout it out.
How do you get more participation with food drives?
How do you get more participation with food drives? Anybody up here done food drives on their campus? Seth Vandertime.
We've done a food drive for many years. The last 3 years have been the most successful. We've made it a competition between our clubs and organizations. So we've gotten a traveling trophy, and we ordered the most obnoxious looking 3.5-foot trophy we could get and promoted it in our office and really tried to get the clubs involved and told them, hey, we really want you to do this. Last year I think we had 1,600 pounds of food that we donated, and our 3-year total is a little over 5,000 pounds of food. So make a competition between clubs or a competition between departments or something, and it'll help.
Another question. Yes.
Yeah, can I give one more spin on this real quick too? In addition to having your food drive, add another component to it, like we discussed today at the session. Not just have a food drive, but have a sculpture competition. How you stack the cans, and each group club that brings in food then has to create a sculpture with the cans that they bring in. So it adds one more element and one more fun part to it.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Wow, food cans to take money off the library fines. That deserves a round of applause. That is amazing. That is brilliant. We have time maybe for one more question, that's it. One more question, that's it. Anybody out there, one last question we can do? One last, yes. Please stand and yell it loudly. Everybody, please, a little silence. Go ahead.
Is there a website or a resource that we can access that might help us as far as what our roles are to help each other so that we can help our campus?
Absolutely. APCA.com, of course, there's a lot of great stuff on it for resources. You also have, somebody was talking about it, SA Chat is a wonderful resource. What is it? SA Chat, I believe. Is that in Facebook?
Hashtag
It's a hashtag SA Chat. Check that out. There are some wonderful resources you can look at on Dell's site. Dell, what is your website? You have a microphone, you can tell them.
Yeah, if you go to my website, dellsuds.com, you can click on a link at the top of the page, and the bottom of the page it says resources. It'll take you to a page that has about 80 different articles I've written that deal with student activity topics, programming ideas, promotional ideas, all sorts of really, really good, useful information there.
Also, please, if you have a program that's working on your campus, send us a couple of pictures of it and a short description of it, and we will put it in Campus Life Trends magazine, and we will spotlight your school for sending it in. So pick your best program you want to share, take a few pictures, give us a little short article, maybe 500 to 1,000 words at most, and we will publish you in Campus Life Trends magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, your panelists will be here tonight, and I believe all of you tomorrow too. They'll be here tonight and tomorrow. If you have any questions for them about the programs they discussed with you, please approach them, ladies and gentlemen. How about a round of applause for them? We're going to start the showcase in just a few minutes.